Hey everyone, Daniel Marchena with XDA TV here, and today we're going to be doing a hands-on overview and my impressions over the past 3 weeks of the Galaxy S10e. This is the Snapdragon model, and we'll be comparing it versus the Galaxy S9 and what I think is its biggest competition, the Google Pixel 3. So, stay tuned. Alright, so here it is. This is the Galaxy S10e in Prism Black. I originally had a pink one, but I had some heat-related issues with it, so I was swapping it out, and I ended up not liking the pink color very much. So I went with the Prism Black. You can actually see the pink one in a hands-on review over on my personal channel. I'll link that video in the description. So again, this is the Prism Black US model, so Snapdragon. It's actually a T-Mobile phone, and this is what it looks like here. I really like that Samsung decided to not go with a pure black or an ink black like they've done in the past. You know, they go with this gray color, and actually, if I go and grab my iPhone XS Max, and it's kind of smudgy, but you can kind of see how they were going for a similar feel there, where it's not pure black, it's like an off black, kind of like a charcoal color. It's something I really like that Samsung did this year. And because of the camera surround being black on this particular model, it does have a nice contrast back here. So it definitely looks really nice. The frame is the same color as the back glass as well. So some of the differences that you're seeing here in the E model compared to the larger models. Mainly you've got the cameras. Instead of a triple camera setup out back, you've got only a dual camera setup back here. The extra wide angle sensor and the standard, it is still a wide angle sensor, but the standard camera back here, as well as that extra wide sensor, are the only two that are available. So you do forego the telephoto, but I'm going to show a photo in a little bit that actually shows that the portrait mode is incredibly good on the Galaxy S10e. I'm very impressed with it. I don't think they needed the telephoto lens to enable that. One of the other major changes and differences between the S10 and the S10 Plus and the S10e is you have this side-mounted fingerprint sensor. This is instead of the in-display mounted sensor. I'm very happy they went with this instead of that, because it looks like these are having a lot of problems with people. It's just sensitivity issues. I really haven't had too many issues here. Around here, you've got your Bixby button and your volume rockers. Dual SIM or dual mode SIM tray here, so SD card and SIM, microphone. Down here at the bottom, the signature layout for Samsung: speaker, microphone, USB-C port, and a headphone jack. Now, something really interesting that we're going to be covering in our full review, I'll kind of spoil it here. The USB port on the Galaxy S10es is a USB 2.0 port. This is exactly the same as they've been using on their prior models. However, the Galaxy S10 Plus and most likely the standard Galaxy S10 are using a USB 3.1 port. So there are speed differences between these two devices, and be on the lookout for a full review. We like to take time here at XDA to do our full reviews. We've got a lot of performance analysis. A whole new performance benchmarking system is rolling out with this review, or at least a revamp to an older one you guys might have remembered. So it's a lot of work going into this review, and I want this to be as comprehensive as possible. So we're going to have Exynos and Snapdragon S10 models, or S10 Plus models, sorry, and the S10e in Snapdragon, and I believe an S10 Exynos model. So we kind of have everything covered, you know, giving you performance analysis and some of the differences. And that's kind of a sneak peek at one of the differences that we noticed there that Samsung really hasn't talked about. So some of the other things, big differences that you're going to notice here with the Galaxy S10e is you've got this flat display. You can see here in the image that there's really no curvature to the back or to the front. It really just kind of rolls into this frame. And that makes this phone 1,000 times more comfortable than like the Galaxy S9, which we'll be comparing it against here in just a moment. It's a flat front and a flat back. Now, keep in mind, because it is flat, it's not truly flat. You still have that 3D glass on the corner, which makes front glass screen protectors a little bit difficult to put on. You've still got some of the problems that you have with the S10s, but not quite as bad. It's more like the Pixels, where you've got that slightly rounded edge, and fingerprints, the glass screen protectors have issues going over them. So continuing on here with this, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the display so you can see again one of the other changes. Now my wallpaper kind of hides it, but there is a single camera there just like on the Galaxy S10, and of course you've got that flat display. You've also got a sizable chin here down on the bottom that the other two don't really have quite as pronounced. And of course, you've got your side bezels, but that's just comes with the territory when you're not curving the screen. In my opinion, this is a worthwhile trade-off. So going ahead and looking at it here versus the Galaxy S9. This is the standard S9, not the Plus. You can see here that the Galaxy S9 is actually a good bit taller. And keep in mind, they both have the same screen size. Now, of course, the aspect ratio changed slightly. I believe it's 19 or 19.5 by 9 on the S10, and it is 18 by 9 on the S9 and the S9 Plus. So that has shifted slightly, helping to adjust that a little bit for how tall it is. And looking here, we can see that they're about the same thickness. And looking from the sides, a lot of the things are very similar aside from that curved screen. You can see that curved feel there. They both kind of curve into the frame on both sides. And in my opinion, it makes for an uncomfortable experience, especially in this bottom corner. It really feels like it digs into your palm. I use phones caseless, and that's a marked improvement on the S10 compared to the Galaxy S9. So again, that's just a quick comparison there. Looking at the back of them, you got the single sensor here on the Galaxy S9. You got the dual sensors here. One of the big differences between these two models, is on the small models, you now get a guaranteed 6 gigs of RAM, whereas the Galaxy S9 only came with 4 gigs of RAM. And that's one of the things I think that kills this phone's longevity. If you're looking between a Galaxy S9 and a Galaxy S10e, which the prices, they're closer than a lot of the other, than the S10 versus the Galaxy S9, that might be a good enough reason to go for an S10e over the last year's S9, is really that RAM. Future proofing is a big thing, especially on these Samsungs. So again, you've got your standard power button down here as opposed to that in-display one. So I'm going to go ahead and put that off to the side here. So the second comparison I'm going to do here is actually what I feel is the biggest comparison for the Galaxy S10e. It's the Google Pixel. These two devices are incredibly similar, more similar than I thought initially. Now, if you look at them here, you can see the Galaxy S10e is a slight bit wider. Again, you've got a taller aspect ratio on this phone, and you also have a slightly larger screen, 5.8 inches to 5.5 on the Pixel 3. And they really trade off a lot of things between these two devices. You've got dual speakers on the Galaxy S10, but it's top-mounted and bottom-mounted, whereas they're both front-firing on the Pixel 3. You've got 2 front cameras on the Pixel 3 to give you wide-angle and standard. You've only got 1 on the Galaxy S10, although that one does both wide-angle and standard. However, on the back, you've got your fingerprint sensor on the back of the Pixel, and you have your fingerprint sensor on the side of the Galaxy. Single camera on the Google Pixel, dual camera on the Galaxy, USB 3.1 on the Pixel, and again 2.0 on the Galaxy S10e. And both of these two devices, the Pixel 3 is on sale very often, so they do come around a similar price point. So these two, I'm glad to have both of them and really be able to shoot it out. And I'll be giving you a video comparison here coming up, full comparison between these two devices and showing you all the differences and the trade-offs. It's really just what trade-offs are you willing to compromise on. A headphone jack, no headphone jack. Better screen, no cutout in your screen. Better software, more featureful software. So it really comes down to what you prefer. We'll be going into a shootout there in a little bit. So going through some of the software on the Galaxy S10 and some of the things that bother me with the One UI on the Galaxy S10e. So I hear a lot of questions when people see my launcher. This is actually just Nova Launcher. I'll show you guys in the settings here. If you want me to share my settings for how I get this, I can definitely go ahead and do so, but it's just Nova Launcher. This particular icon pack is the Galaxy One UI icon pack. I think I found it on the Play Store. I usually use Piro, the round icons that I've got here on the Pixel, but they're all the same layout. I like having it the same, so when I switch between devices, I don't have to refresh myself with a whole new layout. I don't even give the Galaxy Launcher time because Nova's where it's at. So again, here is the display, 5.8 inch 1080p panel, just like on the Google Pixel. So you are giving up some resolution with the Galaxy S10e. They're not going with the QHD panel. I don't think that's a problem, especially at this size. Now, if we were talking OnePlus 6, OnePlus 6T size, we're up in that 6.3, 6.4 inches. 1080p is a little bit harder to swallow, but it really just comes down to trade-offs. And I think this was a very good trade-off. There are definite differences in the display we'll talk about in our display review and the full review, but again, this is a good trade-off for me. So going through some of the UI here, this is the notification shade here, and this is actually going to be one of the first things that bugs me. So I'm going to show you guys what this is here. I'm going to send myself a Hangout message. And so go ahead and send that, and you'll see that message came through here in Google Hangouts. And you can see here on the display just how large the whole UI is for the quick settings panel. It takes up a significant portion of the display. And then the notifications are also a little bit taller than what you've got on the Google Pixel. That bothers me a little bit because this actually really can't be changed. You know how on a Google Pixel, if you change your minimum width, this whole thing will shrink down and give you a lot more space? That doesn't happen on the Galaxy S10. It's actually more like EMUI, where there are certain elements of this UI that just doesn't change. So that's one of my little nitpicks about One UI. A couple other things as well. If you pull down here where you're pulling down on the notification shade, your thumb is pretty much already near the top to go ahead and adjust your brightness. If you pull down the notification shade on the E, you then got to shift your thumb to get down to the bottom here. I think it's good in implementation, but it really doesn't work out for ease of use, with One UI. So that's just one of the things that bugs me about One UI on the Galaxy S10e, those UI choices that they made. Now, if you've watched any S10 videos or any One UI videos, you're very familiar with what this has and everything that's featured on it. So we're not going to go through everything. I'll just go through some things that stood out to me, especially if you're coming from like a Galaxy S8 or a Galaxy S9 and are thinking about potentially upgrading for that RAM benefit that you get, those extra 2 gigabytes of RAM. It really does help out. If we check how much RAM is being used, I have been using this as my daily driver. We've got about 3.3 gigabytes average usage. When you're talking about 4 gigabytes, and it's actually more like 3.8-ish, once you account for lost RAM there, you're really close to pushing it, especially if you open a big application. So that's definitely something to keep in mind there, is that this is a good upgrade for a Galaxy S9 user, but is it really worth it? So some of the things that I've noticed. One of the main things, and this is a small thing, I'm going to go navigate to the advanced features, and here in motions and gestures, Smart Stay. I've heard a lot of people talking about this, and a lot of people think this is actually gone, and this is where the display stays awake if you're looking at it. This doesn't really work very well on the Galaxy S10. It worked great on the S9 series and the Note 9 series, and I think that has something to do with potentially using the iris scanning hardware to better detect when you're looking at your display. I found this very uncontrollable. It would turn off when it's just out of line of sight of my face, and it really doesn't work all that well anymore. I think it's a side effect of losing all of that extra hardware that Samsung had to get rid of. So that's one thing that I've learned that's bugged me there. So again, on the Galaxy S10e, one of the features that you get that you don't get anymore with any of the other Galaxy S10s is the swipe to bring down the notification panel. So you can just swipe right there, and it's actually really convenient to swipe it and swipe with your thumb. For me, I have fairly large hands, so the fingerprint sensor location isn't a huge deal, but I know for a lot of people that it is, because it's so high up on the device. But for me, it doesn't bother me too terribly much. Even in my my left hand there, my index finger sits right here, and I can fairly easily unlock it. See, it didn't unlock. There we go. It just unlocked that time. And those are one of the situations where it doesn't fully detect that you touched it. So again, like I mentioned before, these, the changes in One UI are really, really nice to see. They've done a good job, generally speaking, with One UI and the changes that they've made. And the Galaxy S10e, I think, is a really formidable device. But again, it comes down to, the Google Pixel 3. Which one takes the crown? I can give you my initial thoughts here real quick before my deeper hands-on video. Samsung has better video. The Pixel has better photos. The Samsung has better selfie video. The Google Pixel has better selfie photos. The Google Pixel 3 has better hardware, in my opinion. That's not to say that the Galaxy S10e doesn't feel good in the hand, but if you've ever used a Pixel 3, you know that this phone just feels, it almost feels magical in your hands. It's super light. It fits right in your palm. These side corners are super, super soft. It's a very, very nice feeling phone, and the Samsung doesn't quite feel that nice. It's a little bit wider than the Google Pixel is, again, for that 5.8-inch display. So there are trade-offs between these two. And, when you're figuring in here, I'm going to go ahead and swipe that out here. When you're looking at the display and how much content you can get on them, something you really have to factor into play here is the notch up here. Samsung doesn't want you to call this a notch, but it absolutely is a notch. So I'm going to open this up here real quick. We're going to go to XDA developers, and both of these devices are actually set to the same UI, so they're large text and the smallest DPI scaling. I didn't adjust anything in settings, and I have the navigation bar on both of these phones. And you can see here, we're just going to go ahead and open up one of our articles so you can see both the width and the height of these two devices. And, they're pretty much neck and neck all the way down, and you don't actually get a whole lot more content on the Galaxy S10e compared to the Google Pixel 3. And a lot of that comes down to the size of the status bar. The status bar is just massive. If we kind of level out the top right there, you can see that where the status bar starts on, or the status bar ends on the Galaxy S10 is almost midway through the URL bar on the Google Pixel 3. And, I definitely think that's a problem. You lose a lot of space due to this area. And you can't do things with that area either. You can't drag applications. If you have the pop-up view enabled, see if I can enable this. I have Good Lock on. Let me see here. If I go pop this into pop-up view, in the past, you used to be able to take this and swipe applications up through the status bar onto the top, but now you're actually blocked from swiping them far up over to the status bar. So, there are inconveniences that come in because of this notch, and it's really just depending on whether you think that trade-off is worth it, because in the long run, you're not getting a whole lot more content. You can see, though, it looks like the font is larger on the Galaxy. I can't say to why that's occurring, that I have both of them set to the exact same setting. So it could be one of those UI things that I was talking about earlier with One UI. So that's my initial hands-on with the Galaxy S10e. Now, I've been using this phone for about 3 weeks. And I really do like this phone. It's a very, very nice, well-built phone. And if you like Samsung devices, you know everything you're getting here. And you're getting it with a flat screen, and you're getting it without the bad, for lack of a better term, in-display fingerprint sensor. You hear people making excuses for it and arguing for it. You really shouldn't have to do that on something that's such a mainstay of a device. They really screwed up with that in-display fingerprint sensor. You get that side sensor here. That's more reliable than the main sensor is on the Galaxy S10s. You're getting a great device. You're getting your headphone jack. You're getting the high quality audio. It's got Dolby Atmos, which is tuned to be a little bit less bad than it used to be in prior generations. I've actually enjoyed it. So you're getting a lot of things that Samsung adds to it. Plus, their best software that they've ever put on a phone. I mean, without a doubt, this is the best software that they've ever put on a phone. So that's definitely one of the things that you're getting when you choose the Galaxy S10e over something like the Google Pixel, because the Google Pixel has its problems. It has a lot of issues. And again, we'll be discussing those in a later video. So again, thank you so much for watching our hands-on overview and slight review of the Galaxy S10e. In our full review, we'll be going into battery life, photos, video, a very deep dive into performance, as well as looking at all of the available models and the performance differences between them, between Exynos and US Snapdragon, as well as the differences between the heat pipe on the Galaxy S10 Plus and the supposed no heat pipe on the Galaxy S10e and the standard Galaxy S10. So we'll be looking into all of that. Stay tuned to XDA Developers, both on YouTube and our portal website, xdadevelopers.com, for more great content coming. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I know I probably rambled on just a little bit. I really wanted to talk about my experiences with this phone. as well as some of the features and little quirks that I've noticed in my time with it. If you've enjoyed it, though, leave a like and be subscribed if you're not yet done so. We just hit over 700,000 subscribers here at XDA, and it wouldn't be possible without all of your great subscriptions and sharing our videos as well. So be sure to go ahead and do that. Until next time, I'm Daniel Marchena here for XDA Developers, and I'll see you in the next one.